Hi, Assalamu alaikum, peace to you. In this video of Primavera training, we will learn CPM method, critical path method, which is used for the management of the activities in the project. So let's start with CPM. Critical path method is an algorithm used for planning, scheduling, coordination, and control of activities in a project. What we get from critical path method: identify the critical and non-critical relationships and determine expected completion time of tasks or / activities for the project. A typical activity details shown here. Here is activity ID, for example, what is the activity name or etc. Early start, early finish, late start, late finish, duration of an activity, and total float and free float. Total float we will discuss it later, so let's move further ahead. So here is a CPM example. There are 3 columns: activity, predecessor, and duration of an activity. For example, there is an activity A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and for each activity duration is given. For example, activity A will take to complete 3 days, similarly B 4 days, similarly C 2, 5, 1, 2, 4, 3 respectively. Here are the predecessors. For example, the activity B will start when activity A will finish. Activity C will start when activity C will start when activity A will finish. Similarly, all the predecessors are given. For example, G activity will start after the finishing of D and E. So we will see in the next slide. So here in the first step 1, activities with duration and with their relationship. For example, activity A with duration, activity B, C, D, E, F, all the activities are given with their durations, and all the activities are shown with their relationships, like what activity comes after what. For example, here before starting B activity there is an activity A. Similarly, before starting C activity there is activity A. So after the completion of A activity, the activity B, similarly the activity C, and similarly the activity network diagram is arranged according to the predecessors relationship. So all the relationships are built. Now the next step 2, activities with early start and early finish. For example, this activity will take 3 days to for its completion, so earliest starts is 0 days and earliest finish is 3 days. Similarly, for B activity, when the A activity will finish, definitely at that point activity B will start and it will take 4 days and earliest finish will be 7. Similarly, for C activity, earliest start is 3 days, then it will take 2 days to complete and the earliest finish is 5 days. Similarly, for all the activities, earliest start and early finish are shown. So in the next step 3, activities with late start and late finish. Late start and late finish, for example, how much time an activity can be delayed or that will do not affect the whole project. So these things can be discussed after studying the late start and late finish. So for late finish we will come from the backward. For example, 19 minus 3 16, that is late finish and late start. For example, here 16 minus 4 is the duration, 12, and now there are we have to go on back in the 2 directions, 12 and 12. So we have taken the late finish, 12 minus 1 here is 11, 12 minus 5 is 7. So we will again come back here. We will take smallest value from both the late start, from 11 or 14. Here is 11. So after subtracting 2 we will get 9. So again there is 3 and 9, and we will take 3 as a late finish, and after minus 3 here is a late start. So now we will calculate the total float and free float. Here is the total float. Total float is a duration from the late start minus early start. So here is the late start minus early start is 0, late start minus early start 0. Here in an activity E, late start is 11 and early start is 5. So 11 minus 5, 6. 9 minus 3, 6. 14 minus 5. So here is the total float. Total float is a amount of duration for an activity. For example, for in E activity which can be delayed for 6 days, it will not affect the end time of the project. It means deadline of the project. For example, for F activity, for example, if it's early finish and late finish, here is we can delay this activity for 9 days, then it will not affect the end date of the project. So now we will discuss the free float. The free float is basically the formula for the free float is early start of successor minus early start of an activity for which we are calculating the free float minus duration. For example, for that activity, for B activity, the early start of successor is 7 minus early start of that activity. For that we are calculating the free float is 3 minus 4, that is equal to 0. At the bottom of each activity, free floats are written. For example, this activity again, early start of successor 11 minus 9 minus 2, 0. For this activity, early start of successor is 16 minus 5 minus 2, that is equal to 9. So by chance in this example and each for this activity, total float or free float are coming, but there is always free float is less than or equal to total float. So in some activities there is no free float. Here is 9 free float, and also here is 9 free float. So but this free float means if this activity will delay, then it will not affect the next activity. For example, this activity has 0 free float and this activity has 6 days free float. For example, if we delay this activity, it will not affect the delay in the start of the next activity. For example, earliest finish is 6 and the latest finish is 12 minus 6 days. So if we delay this activity by 6 days, it will not affect the next activity. So by summarizing, what is the total float and free float? Total float is the amount of duration for an activity that can be delayed so that it cannot affect the end date of the project. So that is the total float. Free float is that amount of duration for an activity which can be delayed so that it do not affect the delay in the next activity. So that is called the free float.